At the heart of Asia, thrust some 3 miles in the air by a clash of continents, Tibet is an astounding natural fortress the size of Western Europe. For hundreds of years, Tibetans saw no need to bar foreigners. Only a handful survived the trek through the surrounding mountains and deserts. And these proved no threat to their cherished Buddhist theocracy. Here, every fourth person was a monk or a nun. But by the 1800s, Tibet began to feel the pressure of 2 new powers in Asia. Britain, effectively in control of India since 1833, had been steadily expanding its influence northward into the Himalayas. Russia, meanwhile, was swallowing up territory in Central Asia as it pushed its empire eastwards. Tibet knew little about the outsiders, except that both powers were Christian, not Buddhist. Fearing for their way of life, the land of monks closed its borders. Paradoxically, it was the closing of Tibet that ensured the West would have to pry it open again.
And this was during the era of exploration, where people wanted to get to Antarctica, to the North Pole, they wanted to go up the Nile. And so Lhasa became a real, as we might say today, a real destination, but nobody could get there.
You had the last European in Lhasa in 1811, and then you suddenly have a gap, really right up till the very end of the 19th century, when you get no foreigners or no Europeans managing to go into Tibet. And this creates this great kind of mystery of Tibet, and the idea that somehow people had to break through and sort of reach the forbidden city of Lhasa.
In India, paranoia as much as curiosity drove the need to get into neighboring Tibet. It was the era of the Great Game, a Cold War between Russia and Britain for the domination of Central Asia. The British feared that if the Russians were to gain a foothold in Tibet, they might use it as a base for invading India. The Forbidden Land became the center square on the chessboard of the Great Game, one that needed to be explored and mapped at all costs.
The Russians were coming, and this created a great deal of anxiety. The problem was that Tibet was basically closed. So that left the Brits with a problem. How do you map Tibet if you can't get in to have a look?
It was a young officer in the Royal Engineers who hit upon Britain's best hope in the race for Tibet. Thomas George Montgomery had spent years overseeing natives in the Great Trigonometrical Survey of India, a massive British effort to create an accurate map of the entire Indian subcontinent. He'd also noted that Indians often passed freely into Tibet, where no white man would be allowed. Perhaps an Indian spy, trained in the arts of espionage and surveying, might penetrate Tibet, disguised as a trader or holy man. Captain Montgomery, in typical colonial fashion, had some doubts whether a native of sufficient intelligence and raw nerve might be found, but obtained permission to give his plan a try. Thus began the unlikely career of one of the most successful spies in the history of espionage. Nain Singh, then a 33-year-old schoolteacher, had grown up in the shadows of the Himalayas. His family had traded in Tibet, and he could read and write Tibetan. He quickly accepted the assignment, despite its dangers.
Nain Singh was just one of those people, they're individuals who are great achievers. There was this man living in a very remote village. I mean, what kind of opportunities did he have to, really accomplish something really great?
In 1863, the young schoolteacher reported for duty at the Survey of India's headquarters in Dehradun. There, he would undergo 2 years of intensive training in the arts of surveying. He learned the use of the sextant and the compass, and to locate his position using the stars. Through endless repetition, the novice spy learned to walk at an exactly measured pace, 31.5 inches astride, or 2,000 paces to the mile. He would keep track of those paces on a rosary. The Buddhist rosary contains 108 beads, a holy number. Nine Singh's rosary would have only 100 to more easily keep track of his strides. Montgomery had dubbed him the Pundit, Hindi for wise one, and sent him on his way. His daunting task? To find his way to Lhasa, the Forbidden City, to chart his course, counting every stride along the way, and to spy on the political, religious, and economic life of Lhasa for as long as possible. Nine Singh knew what fate awaited him if he were caught, an almost certain death. It would take Nine Singh 8 frustrating months to cross into Tibet. At first, the Pundit had tried to enter through Nepal disguised as a horse trader, but suspicious border guards turned him away. He managed to slip by those same border guards a few weeks later, disguised as a holy man. He had already acquired an escort, the first of several caravans that would offer him protection on the dangerous journey. In the outlying areas of Tibet, bandits far outnumbered monks. Singh seemed to have been quite the favorite with these caravans, some of whom would vouch for him when Tibetans they encountered grew curious. But sometimes the Pundit had to travel alone. Once, when his companions had the chance to travel by river, he had to make his excuses to continue on foot. Without his measured pace, his survey would have gone awry. With numb feet, he strode his perfect 31.5-inch stride. With numb fingers, he counted those strides on his rosary. He kept his surveying notes where no one would think to look, in a cleverly modified prayer wheel. Usually the wheel contains a scroll with a holy incantation on it. Each turn sends the Buddhist prayer whirling heavenward. While his companions slept, the Pundit would slip a thermometer into the camp pots. The boiling point of water would tell him his altitude, a vital part of his survey. Five months into the journey, the Pundit was beginning to worry. The caravan was approaching the town of Shigatse, where they planned to stay several months. The Forbidden City was still a long way off, and Nine Singh's funds were almost exhausted. Once in Shigatse, the resourceful Pundit managed to support himself by teaching accounting to merchants. But he also received a most unwelcome invitation to the great Tashalanpo Monastery, home to some 3,000 Buddhist priests. To refuse would be to arouse suspicion. But could a Hindu pretender remain undetected among so many true Buddhists? Even worse, he would have an audience with the monastery's leader, the Panchen Lama. Second only to the Dalai Lama in power, the Panchen Lama was reputed to be able to see into the hearts of all men. Nain Singh would have to offer the Lama a gift of silk, then respond to any 3 questions the Lama asked. Is your king well? Does your country prosper? Are you in good health? With amazed relief, the pundit realized that the Panchen Lama was an 11-year-old boy who seemed to have no interest in peering into the heart of a spy. But it was a close call. How long could a pretender in a land of monks escape detection? In December, the caravan moved on with their Buddhist holy man in tow. The mind-numbing rhythm of the pundit's walking survey resumed, tedium punctuated by fear.
Anyone who's walked in Tibet, trekked, hiked, tried to get around Tibet on foot knows that it's exhausting. I mean, the altitudes are extremely high. You go up passes 16, sometimes 17,000 feet where you're just barely able to put one foot in front of the other. The oxygen's thin, you have a terrible splitting headache. I mean, there was no roads, there were no wheels, there was no nothing. Above all, it was risky because you might be discovered.
Several times, the nightmare of all caravans in these badlands occurred. A violent attack by bandits. Once the pundit was forced to escape by horseback, a desperate maneuver that would foil his plans to walk off every yard to Lhasa. He vowed to make it up by pacing the journey on his return trip. January 10th, 1866. Exactly 1 year since he had set out from India, the fabled city of Lhasa lay before the pundit. He had counted over 1 million strides to get here, but now the most crucial and dangerous phase of his cloak and dagger existence had just begun. He would be living on borrowed time.
We arrived this day at Lhasa, and soon after my arrival, I engaged 2 rooms. One was well adapted for taking star observations.
After fixing the position of Lhasa, Singh set about fulfilling the rest of his mission: to gather as much intelligence on the political, economic, and religious life of the Forbidden City as possible. Singh's rooms, situated just 20 yards from the Jokang, the holy central square of the city, were perfect for the task.
In the center of the city stands a very large temple. The idols within it are richly inlaid with gold and precious stones. This temple is surrounded by bazaars and shops. On a low hill, there is a large and strong fort called the Potala, which is the residence of the Lama Guru. The Lama Guru is the chief of all Tibet, but he does not interfere with state business. He is looked upon as the guardian divinity and is supposed to never die, but transmigrates into anybody he pleases. I observed there was but little order and justice to be seen in Lhasa.
In the Forbidden City, the pundit's position was more precarious than ever. The threat of discovery, a constant dread. Once, a chance encounter with merchants from his professed homeland exposed his deceit. Somehow, he managed to convince them not to turn him in. Not long after his arrival, Nain Singh would once again receive an invitation he could not refuse. This time, an audience with the Dalai Lama himself in the Great Potala. And once again, the pundit would find himself before a living God who could peer into the hearts of men, it was said, only to find himself gazing into the eyes of a child of 13. But his luck could not hold forever, and the price of discovery was about to become terrifyingly clear. One night on the street, Singh witnessed firsthand what happened to foreigners unwelcome in Lhasa. In this case, a Chinese man who did not have permission to be in the capital.
He was brought out before the whole of people and beheaded with very little hesitation. Owing to my alarm, I changed my residence and seldom appeared in public again.
When Singh heard that the caravan that had conveyed him to Lhasa was ready to head back out of Tibet, he knew it was time to begin the 500-mile walk home. October 1866. An exhausted Nain Singh crosses the Himalayas once again and descends from the rooftop of the world into his homeland in the foothills of northern India. He has been gone almost a year and a half. He has walked 2.5 million paces on his 1,200-mile trek, counting virtually every step of the way. He's lived undetected in the forbidden city of Lhasa for 3 months. He's returned to the survey of India in Dehradun with a treasure beyond the wildest imaginings of his mentor, Captain Montgomery.
By these really, in a way, quite primitive techniques, they were able to map the whole of sort of southwestern Tibet. And what's interesting is that the Survey of India maps, which are around today, are still based on quite a lot of information which were obtained by the pundit.
Until Nain Singh went to Lhasa, the Western world had no idea really what was where in Tibet. They didn't really even know where Lhasa was. They knew it was up there.
Years later, it would be confirmed that Nain Singh had calculated the position of Lhasa correct to within half a degree of latitude, a remarkable feat. Montgomery, while keeping the identity of his super spy to himself, detailed Nain Singh's amazing journey to the president of the Royal Geographical Society.
I'm quite sure he'd make a good impression anywhere, and I can quite understand his being an immense favourite with the Ladakhis who conveyed him into the sacred city. The pundit, I think, deserves all praise. His work has stood every test capitally. Captain George Montgomery.
Nain Singh would go on to make 2 more secret journeys into Tibet. He then helped Montgomery recruit and train other pundits who continued filling in the blank spaces on the map of the Forbidden Land. Some never came back. Others, like Nain Singh himself, would never be the same.